between like the American clients and the Canadian clients, because we do have, an American platform, obviously our YouTube, but it is good for them to, for all of us to like still support each other and know that like, hey, like we're all in this together. There's enough room for everybody. But it's kind of cool for them to see like what goes on. I don't think people really realize that we do it international or we ship international. I think they think we're exclusive maybe, but so it's kind of cool for them to see, oh my gosh, there's people on the other side of this doing stuff. So, and especially Matt, everybody usually will know Matt, but a lot of my, it doesn't matter where they're from, but I think kind of bridged the gap in a way. So I'm kind of excited about that.
Yeah,
we like to say we support North America and worldwide. So
yeah.
Yeah, we got some pretty fanatical shooters up here looking for gear.
Talent everywhere. We've seen a lot of people in Australia that we set rifles out there. They're sending us monthly updates of their match winnings and everything. So it's cool. It's good to see this community grow.
That's awesome. The sport's growing worldwide. Like you can just see it at the national scene in the UK this year. A lot of countries that only had a handful of shooters in Italy were sending like, double, triple the amount to the UK. So it's really awesome.
Yeah, we've got a lot of UK, a lot of them. There's even a distributor that we're working with now over there because he's a 70-year-old guy, but he was just like, I've been trying to get in and break through in this sport for so long. It's gotten so big, but we sent extractors there and we sent some trigger shoes. And then now he wants us to also obviously take, import some CZs and whatnot and start moving it down that way. And then Ryan Charleston, he's
Ryan
UK,
from MDT.
Yeah,
Ryan
he's
Charleston.
a UK shooter as well. So, he's going to run the Genesis. So we're excited about it.
Sweet. I was actually squatted with Ryan for the Worlds. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he's so nice. Yeah. I like Ryan.
We're dropping some big coin on some new CNC machines too. So hopefully I'll help us.
Yeah.
So
are you guys? Sorry, go ahead, Travis.
I was gonna say, so you have 4 CNCs now?
Well, we have 2. We got our DN Lynx 2100. We have a new Sile X7 that should be hitting the shop pretty soon, and then we're getting a Sodic wire EDM and the new DNX 2100, which is that one's like the Puma series but on steroids. It has like laser offset guidance. It has tool breakage detection. It's meant to be automated. What's cool about it is that it runs on the same system as Amazon. So if you place an order, it will take it in and then build it how you want it.
Yeah,
so
it's crazy.
It's basically meant to sit there automated and let it just run.
Nice.
Wow.
That's sweet.
That sounds amazing. Are you guys going to SHOT Show this year?
Yes.
Yeah, we go every year.
Okay, cool.
It's fun. We have a good time. It's a lot of walking, but we always have fun. But at the end of the day, we're exhausted. But it is fun to go kind of do like face-to-face with people that you don't see, or like your vendors or different manufacturers that you use. So we always have a lot of fun.
Yeah, range day is always a walk in a hurricane. It's always rainy and windy.
Cold, freezing. Yeah.
I'm going to Vegas in March. So I said, maybe I'll go and drive and see you guys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We could even head out there too, because it's not that far for us. It's like maybe an hour and a half drive, hour and 45 minutes. But we go out there frequently because this is a still really small town. So we go out there all the time. So nice. Next time we're there, let us know. We'll meet you out there.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah, it's fun. Vegas is a good time too.
Sure is.
Have you been, Travis? Are you going for leisure or work?
Work, but we have a bit of leisure time as well. So
nice.
Yeah.
Funny how that always happens, eh? Oh.
Yeah.
All right, stand by, guys. We're going to kick off the intro, and then we'll get back to it. Stand by. Hey, welcome to the Rimfire Nation Podcast, proudly presented by Tesro.ca. This is Season 4, Episode 15. Tonight, we have special guests Ashley and Kenny from Desert Precision Gunworks, along with our favorite shooter, Matt Huey, and our production engineer extraordinaire, Travis from Boss Gear, joins us to welcome our special guests. So, guys, welcome to the podcast. Thanks so much for taking the time. I know you guys are in the middle of juggling so many balls you got in the air and new production and new products. So thanks, Kenny and Ashley, for joining us this evening.
It's,
yeah, it's a
definitely,
pleasure.
It's definitely a pleasure. We're
Yeah.
here to answer any questions that anybody may have as well.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
No problem. So for those who have been living under a rock for the last several years, what is Desert Precision Gunworks all about, and what is your reason for being?
It is the dream of starting a small business out of a shed. That's literally how it all started. It started out of a 10 by 12 tough shed.
Yeah.
Just building rifles on a manual lathe, and turned into something where I kept pushing the goal of pursuing precision. You know, that's the whole name of it. So got known for building a lot of 22s, and I prefer centerfire. That's just kind of been my shtick for the longest time. But the rimfires really kind of gave me a challenge to kind of pursue different aspects that aren't in centerfire, and it does require a lot more attention to detail, in my opinion, to build a rimfire versus a centerfire.
Right. And when did you start going down that rimfire path? Seriously.
Yeah.
COVID, I would say.
Yeah.
I would say COVID changed a lot of things.
We started this business in 2017. You know,
Okay.
just generally speaking of PRS rifles, bench rest rifles, centerfire, and got serious in the rimfire around 2020, 2021.
Yeah. It started to change. I think we had 80% of our business was probably centerfire, and then maybe 20% rimfire, and now it's just completely changed. I mean, probably even more so, maybe 90% rimfire, 10% centerfire. So it's grew tremendously. But I mean, Kenny, he's very humble, but I mean, he pushes a lot of platforms. If you guys are familiar with him, he pushes, the CZs to its limit, any of the 700s that he's, built to its limits, and his great craftsmanship skills, and he takes great pride in what he does. And so I think we always try to set ourselves apart in the industry by always pursuing what's in our name, and that's precision. And so we try to hit that goal every single time, and also work with other shooters that, are great ambassadors to the sport and that reflect those goals of ours as well. Giving back that way to the community. It's important for us to have boots on the ground and participate and get feedback from shooters.
Yeah, we're competitors to ourselves. She was doing silhouette shooting, I was doing PRS and General Hunter, competition dynamics, team sniper matches. That's kind of my background.
Nice.
But the precision aspect of things at 22 is like, well, for one, a lot of people have chosen it because it's got cheaper ammo. It's not cheaper now. I've seen the prices going up, but but it is cheaper still than centerfire, and you can still practice your fundamentals that way.
Right.
True. And then when you started off, were you just tuning rifles as opposed to building your own barreled actions? Or how did that?
Yeah, so I was actually mentored by a really good gunsmith here in Lake Havasu, and we were just basically building centerfire rifles. He taught me on a Shot Fox manual lathe. I was side by side and just started really taking pursue in the machining aspect of things. Now, I do come from a machinist background. I grew up in the CNC industry, manufacturing industry, with my family business. We've been in manufacturing for they've been a total about combined 70 years. So I grew up as a little kid picking splinters and metal shavings out of my skin since I was 7. So, but learning to run a CNC machine is something I just reacquired in the last few years. Never thought I'd want to get behind one of those things. I despised them growing up as a kid and continually cleaning those things as I was all my summer years. But then I just dove into being able to take what I learned, take what I imagine, put it on a 3D printer first, and then take that 3D print, measure it, and put it on the CNC machine and come up with something pretty cool.
Kind of grew from there.
Yeah, it grew from there.
And then you were 22 first before you started tuning them, or you were tuning them before?
Well, yeah, I've been involved with machinery, I guess. The first machines we were playing with had punch cards. I mean, that's how old these machines were. So instead of loading floppy disks, if folks even know what a floppy disk is nowadays, we had actual punch cards. These were the code of the CNC, the G code, and we were loading them in the machine one by one. So the joke was my uncle used to pass by me, and we had like stacks of these cards, and he would just knock them out of my hand just to be funny. and then I would spend hours rearranging the cards back together, which is basically the program. But I was loading those machines up, the program. I was setting up the Haas VF1. That's what I started on, and just doing basic 3-axis works. We're doing tool and die.
Yeah.
We're just stamped material for the Silicon Valley industry to make the silicon chips. So they were basically die and stamps for the silicon chips that we're making. But that ingrained in me since I was young. Again, it was a lot of time just helping out, and not going out there being an adventurer as a young kid, but helping out the family. It needed help. So there's
The culture too.
culture. Yeah. I'm actually Filipino, so our culture is very family oriented.
Yeah.
And we always try to help each other out. So it was something to keep our family business going. But yeah,
The majority are self-taught, really, though.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
majority of it's self-taught.
The railroad, the skill set that you've acquired there as well. But I would say most of it you've really just learned growing up over the years,
Right.
and kind of just. I mean, you would think he has a degree in engineering, just the way that he does things, but really he's self-taught, and just from what his family, what he's learned and acquired, that skill set from his dad and his uncles and whatnot. So it's just kind of, again, snowballed into what it is now. But I mean, he's really acquired a lot of those skills on his own, which is fascinating to me, because most people, I mean, I don't know how he does that or how he obtains the information that he does, but I just decided that whatever his family did, they did something right. So we teach our kids, I teach my son, my 14-year-old, how to run the CNC. And so it's cool. They're homeschooled. So they learned so much from him, how to code and how to, work on these machines. And they've learned so much cool information.
Yeah, my oldest is the youngest advanced Cerakoder in the nation of North America. So he's
they're all involved.
Yeah, they're all involved. My youngest son is next to me in the computer all day.
Yeah.
Either playing games or helping me, like I was cleaning the CNC and getting all the chips out of there and everything. So it's just passing down tradition.
Yeah. Follow Dad's footsteps of cleaning out the CNC sword.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I hated it, man. I was growing up and I was like, oh my gosh, I'll
Gotta
never
pay
be
your-
behind.
Gotta pay your dues.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. Yep.
That's it.
So now you get to tell someone else to clean up the CNC.
There you go. That's it.
Yeah, that's what they're doing now. And I'm watching it, all the splinters out. And I'm like, yep, I remember that day.
I get them gloves now. I get them gloves.
There you go. That's kind.
Those soft hands are gonna tell experience pretty soon.
Yeah.
That's it. So now if we fast forward to today, what is Desert Precision Gunworks, and kind of what do you guys offer the market?
Yeah. So we're primarily competition-based PRS rifles. We do a lot of also small bore F-class and silhouette. So we do support the NASA, which is the National Association of Silhouette Community.
Yeah.
Chris Cawthorn is the head of that. So we do highly support them with high power as well. So we build a lot of high power rifles, 6 diameter, 25 GT is another good hard hitting cartridge. So PRS in general is a big hit for us. Center fire, rimfire mostly.
Yeah. And
we just been kind of pushing the limits now to the competition realm. We do build these competition rifles, and we do also try to help out folks that are in a need for hunting as well. I mean, these are tools. We are trying to provide a product that is a tool that's going to last a lifetime. That's going to give you something that's going to work in the field. That's the biggest thing, is you can spend a lot of money, and then these tools fail on you. But the cost of traveling, say for instance, you're traveling cross country to go hunting, and your trigger fails on you, or your barrel has a cold bore shift, which your first shot you miss an elk. Same thing with the PRS community. Go out and travel. You spend thousands of dollars traveling. You got a cold bore shift in your rifle. Your first shot in every stage is a miss.
Right.
I mean, Matt knows that these competitions are 1 or 2 points as a podium finish now.
Yeah.
So that's a determining factor.
Right. So that's a good segue, Matt. So how did you get to know Desert Precision? When did you start discovering their
Kenny, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was I reached out to Kenny asking about something technical, and he replied back just asking me what gear I was running, and I was giving him a breakdown. He was like, "Oh yeah, that's cool. Well, if you ever want to try, one of my products." At the time, he wasn't making his own barrels, but he was doing the gunsmithing work.
Yeah.
So, we chatted a little bit, and I was like, "Yeah, my first custom rifle would be pretty sweet." So I gave him the specs that I was interested in, and then I said, really, like, the rest is up to you. I trust your expertise or whatever. So he spun me up that Voodoo with the Shillen barrel, and at the time, I believe, Kenny, you were still using like the manual lathe. I don't think anything was CNC. Yeah, everything was like hand measured. But that thing was, or it still is, an absolute like laser beam. So that was the first rifle I got from Kenny, and after that, we had a pretty good like working relationship. I trusted his work, to perform at the highest level. And to me, it's for PRS specifically, it's a combination of being accurate, obviously, but also the function and the reliability has to be 100%. Like, if you have one or two malfunctions a match, if they're bad enough, that could cost you, a podium spot or whatever. So I made sure that there was an understanding, the way he chambered all the rifles for me, that reliability was also like, a key factor. So in that, I just put a lot of trust in his expertise, and he's definitely come through, because all the rifles he's built me have been both accurate and reliable, which is just like the perfect pairing for a competitive tool to use. Yes, exactly.
And this season, you're still using a DPG?
Oh yeah, actually, what's funny is, Kenny, you brought in your own barrels. I believe maybe it's 2 years now, or about a year and a half, 2 years. Yeah. So when he started offering his own in-house barrels, I was like, I got to try one of those. So I actually sent him the original Voodoo action that he, the original Voodoo action that was a factory Voodoo action that I was shooting. I sent him that old action, and he put his new barrel on it. So that's the Voodoo I've been running this season, and it's been absolutely amazing, as you can probably tell. So that's been working really nicely. And then he also built me one of the threaded CZs with his barrel on it as well, and they're both absolutely rock stars of rifles. But I kind of prefer the Voodoo action a little bit more in general. It's a little bit more, I guess, like substantial. Like a CZ is a little bit small, but some guys prefer, it's just preference. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's just the magazines and stuff. It's like saying, it's been a partnership, and it's a learning curve for me as well, because his experience in shooting as a caliber he shoots and performs, it's like that's what's pushed me to start achieving the goals that he needs to accomplish the these shots out there. I mean, he's pushing with 280, 300 meters on some of these shots, and it's like MOA targets sometimes. I'm like, man, I can't imagine trying to hold that on a positional shot, but not yet alone, the gear alone being able to do that.
Yeah. Well, it's crucial to get that feedback, especially, that's what we're always looking for. I mean, from the, even the sponsored shooters we have, or just any of our clients in general, it's crucial to get feedback from people, that are in the industry, or in the sport and participating. And so Matt, especially has been incredibly helpful to Kenny, and especially because he's still, Matt's super sweet and he's nice, but he's still straightforward and he's honest. And and we appreciate that from anybody. But it is nice to have that partnership, and I feel like they kind of speak the same language and they understand each other. And so Matt or any of our shooters give us, or clients give us feedback, it's very important, and Kenny takes that very seriously, and it's what helps us continue to push these platforms like the CZ or other 700s, but really in development of our own, because
Savage,
that was really crucial for us. Building this new action was that we wanted to make sure that we set the bar and that we could offer reliability, repeatability, like Matt was saying, because those are like the most important. Obviously, it needs to be smooth, and those elements, need to be.
The reliability is number one.
Is the key, yeah.
And I've seen this as a competitor myself. I go out to these stages, and you're looking at $10,000+ rifle setups, and you're like, man, just feeding issues out of a mag. A lot of it is user error. people think that you could buy points. It really does take experience.
Yeah.
And going out to these matches, I can say that I've seen an older gentleman that I've never seen show up to a match with a brand new Savage that he bought from Walmart and just whooped all of us. I just was amazed. I was like, okay, obviously the gear will take you so far, but your experience in shooting also is
a variable. Yeah.
Right. So that's a great segue. So you guys started by tuning rifles, then bringing your own barrels, and now you've got your own in-house action. Is that what you're releasing soon, or have now?
Yeah. So a lot of it's been pushed because of how the industry has been running. And not to be negative, but the wait times, the lead times are really contributed to a lot of how long these barrels were taking. And I foresaw this when I was dealing with Schillen and dealing with Mueller Works and Krieger, when they were getting 12 plus months, goes by. The promised deadline was 9 months. And a few months later, that all trickles down to our clientele. We have to relay that to them. And obviously it's a disappointing message.
Yeah.
So when I started seeing these barrels and these barrel manufacturers taking this long, the high production, when Rimfire just exploded in the last 3 years, that how popular it's been. High production brings lower quality, and that's just how it's always been, no matter how you see it on any product in the market. So I foresaw this happening. I knew that production is gonna be longer. I started working with my uncle and developing a machinery called ECM rifling, which is basically from EMAG is the company. ECM rifling is like a carbon rod that burns out the rifling instead of actually pulling a button or cutting the rifling out of it. It's a very new technology. So what's unique about it is that it eliminates all the internal bore stress, which in rimfire, that's what's contributing to a lot of the full bore shift that we see, or issues with accuracy.
Yeah, and I think the lead times go into our proprietary action now, it kind of mirrors the same issues we were having. So obviously lead times from manufacturers, but when there's defects or when there's issues, that's also, something that has to be translated on our end to clients too. So if there's problems, we can't control that. We didn't build the action at that time that caused a issue. We also have a lot of integrity, and, our clients mean a lot. Their business means a lot to us. So, having to be honest and explain the issues that were at hand. Obviously we got cancellations from that and whatnot, but it really, even before that, Kenny had always wanted to produce his own action, especially after those barrels got going, but everything was so put on backlog because of how many rifle builds that we had. But with some of these certain circumstances, and I'm sure everybody hears rumors of different manufacturers that are in business or aren't in business or whatever, but it kind of opened that door, and we just felt that the timing was right at that specific time, and Kenny had already drawn it up, and he had a lot of it done. So
let me turn that off. Sorry, fellas. We're in the shop.
But yeah, I mean, he had a lot of those things already figured out, drawing on the CAD and the machining and all that stuff that he already was kind of prototyping. So I think again, it kind of just blew the door open, if you will, for that opportunity, and we couldn't really pass that up. So that's led us into now developing our own proprietary action, and Kenny can kind of explain.
Yeah, it's mostly pushing the limits. Again, I'm in the field just like you guys are, and I'm sure you guys have seen some of the issues that we had. We develop some of the mods out there for fixing some of the feeding problems and so some of the certain actions. Worked with finding out a way how to get this little tiny 22 cartridge to feed out of this full-size pattern AICS mag, right? Yeah. It is the hardest cartridge to get to feed correctly. And that's what I don't think people realize, that any bit of play or movement in that magazine is misaligning that cartridge for the feeding. And to understand how your system works and how spring-loaded extractors are supposed to grip around a cartridge, I think that's kind of the key element. How these videos that I'm trying to put out is for folks to understand this is how the system is designed to work, and why we're designing a system that's based around what I consider as being a reliable platform. The elements of certain other platforms.
Yeah.
It is nice because now, along with your barrels, once this action's released, you have complete control, at least on the rimfire side, of the entire sort of barreled action as as a single unit in house, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
One question I get a lot, I don't know why they ask me because I don't work for you guys, but when your action is released, are you going to still offer the CZ builds, or are you going to switch fully to the Genesis side of stuff?
I think we're always going to offer the CZ builds.
Yeah.
And, as long as quality is still being kept, and that's the key factor of this, I have to have support from the manufacturer. And this is why we kind of stopped offering the Bergara. When we were asking them to replace some of the parts, they were automatically coming back saying no. At least this is with our shop experience. We modified the action, they can't warranty it. So as far as I know, as of today, CZ is still supporting us. We call them, which is basically Colt Manufacturing here in the United States. Colt Manufacturing took over CZ 457 production. I have been notifying them and kind of shedding light of my complaints of some of the plastic stuff that's coming out of the new CZs and some of the demise of the quality, but we're able to make our own parts for it. That's why we have our own extractors. And then if something ever breaks, that's the benefit for us, is that we can contact CZ USA and get a replacement within a couple weeks instead of waiting 2 to 3 months from a shipment from Spain or something. So
Cool.
I think if it's a reliable platform, we'll probably always offer it.
Well, I'm always looking, because in my opinion, the 22 PRS game is to entice new shooters to join the competition realm without breaking the bank. And just like all competitive sports, is going to be that gear race eventually when you get to that top level, but it's still a sport where you could come in, brand new rifle, spend a couple $100 or just show up to a match and not break the bank and still have a enjoyable fun. That's why the Rimfire, I think, is always going to be here, and we're always looking for products that are going to entice the new shooters out there. So the CZ seems to be the kind of a good step forward for folks who want to jump into the next realm of open fishing.
Yeah.
So one of the questions I get often is, what makes your CZ different from other guys who are threading barrels into CZs? Because there's a couple gunsmiths in Canada doing that now. I'm sure there's some in the US. So
I think Ashley could speak to this. I try to stay humble. I don't claim to be the best out there. If I see somebody that's outperforming our rifles, I just want to learn, what are they doing better than I am. And I could say from experience building the CZ, the benefit of what I'm doing now versus a pre-fit. And again, to kind of set stone here, we make our own barrels. We have no problem making pre-fit barrels and selling a bunch of pre-fit CZs and stuff like that. But the simple fact is that I could outperform any pre-fit out there. What I've seen, being able to do with the work that I've been doing. Threading the CZ action, the action itself is a very hardened chromoly steel on top of melanite coating. I've tried this before in the past with my manual lathe, and this is talking about single point cutting threads into an action. You cannot get accurate single point cut threads on a regular manual lathe on a CZ action without having it taper or misaligning the action. The only and best way that I've found the method of threading these actions is to do it on a CNC using a mill turn end mill, which is a thread mill, which will go and cut out the material. So there is no side load force or axial force on the material alone, which is the action. It also cuts out the threads very, very good. It's the best way of cutting threads, honestly. And then we have our own thread gauges. But what the threads allow us to do on the CZ is allow us to put a heavy contour barrel and lock it up to the action traditionally, just like a Remington 700. The biggest downside to the grub screws on the CZ 457 is that if you look at it, it is literally at the same area where your bullet enters the lead angle or your rifling of your barrel. All of that material is cut away, and you're hanging off that big of a barrel. You're talking 6 pound, 7 pound barrel on less than a 3/4 of an inch tenon, but now that's almost cut in half with those grub screws.
Yeah,
it's any mechanical engineer could look at that and say that's not a good way of supporting a rigidity on any product and keeping reliability. You can get good performance, but what I've seen is that it doesn't hold zero. You'll see a lot of walking around. You'll see a lot of flyers. And that's the difference. What I see when I thread these actions and put these heavy contour barrels, increases the rigidity of the system. The barrels do its job. You're getting a more consistent, accurate group over a long span of shots, 100 plus shots, let's say 100 shots a match. If you were to take all those shots and just sit on a bench and just shoot shot for shot, your aggregate group is almost half of what all the other ones that I've seen out there.
I can speak to how consistent your CZ builds are, because Dory got that CZ build from you guys. I think it was it's been over a year now, maybe close to 18 months actually. And she has been shooting, side by side with me every match we go to. And we both rarely have to ever touch our zeros on our scopes. So her CZ's holding zero just as well as my Rem 700 builds and all that. But it's also kind of funny because when CZ built the 457, I'm sure they never had in mind people hanging off 25 inch 1.2 inch barrels and stuff. Like that was outside of the scope of their
intention.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I think now that competitors are leaning towards that and using the CZ action, threading them is a good solution. So obviously, like I don't know if you were the first one to do it, but definitely it was a good way of
it's been done. It's definitely not something new. It's just been done for the longest time. A lot of the on-shoot shooters, the 1710s, are all threaded actions. They're threading the action to putting on the barrels there instead of pinning them. It's not a new concept. It's what it is just it's merging rigidity. I could say that I could take a factory CZ action, I could thread it, put back the factory barrel. It's pretty much going to shoot the same. The action itself doesn't, and doing the work on the action doesn't really make it more accurate. What it does is sets up the system to allow you to put a heavier barrel, a more rigid barrel, and that's where you're going to get your accuracy. The accuracy all comes down to the barrel quality. Yeah. And I've always said this, it's always the barrel quality. You start with a very good barrel that has zero defects in the bore, very uniform bore, very straight bore. You're going to have good results no matter what system you put it on. And headspace is going to be the next key factor, and then it's going to be the firing system. Fine-tuning your firing system is entailed of playing around with firing pin spring rate. I mean, that's a big factor to all this. Your ammo, Ely likes to be hit harder, so you need to have like a 19-pound spring. In the summertime, you could dial it back down to like a 16-pound spring, and you could play around with your groups just by playing around with spring rates. So there's a lot of things you could do with just before getting into tuners and all that. You could actually fine-tune your system just playing around with spring rates and getting a system that's rigid.
Cool. And just to bring your question to full circle too, I mean, what sets us apart is really it's Kenny being consistent through and through. So when he works on these, anyone could thread a CZ, anyone could throw a barrel on it. But I mean, not only does this guy retouches his tools every time on the CZ. I mean, he's so precise. Everything. I mean, he drops his little air gauge tool down the barrel. I mean, everything has to be 100%. I mean, if it's not, Kenny will abandon ship on the barrel, on that action. I mean, he won't. I mean, you can tell from the start of the action to his crown, his signature crown, does a beautiful job, on start to finish. And like he's saying, sourcing out, the right materials, making sure that, you're not just going with any shop that's Joe Schmo. I mean, these barrel manufacturers have to earn that credibility. And once they do, and once we feel, and again, it doesn't just have to be our proprietary barrel. There's a lot of good barrel manufacturers out there as well. But
we're always looking at barrels.
Yeah.
The key factor is that, yes, I have a CNC machine now, but it's still a hand-fitted operation. It takes me all day to build a rifle.
Yeah.
Even though I have a CNC, I'm literally spending all day. So.
And we test them. I mean, that's another thing. We test every rifle. I wish we didn't. It's it's so time consuming. I've begged Kenny, gosh, haven't you earned, you think you've earned your credibility now? Let's just get, he's like, no, I have to test each and every single rifle that leaves. So it's got to perform, at that 0.3 or better. And then it also, sub 1 inch at 100. I mean, and I've seen Kenny just the other day. I mean, it was in the ones. I mean, and then he's he's always trying to push. And I'm like, dude, this thing's in the ones. And he's like, yeah, it's fine. He doesn't care. And I'm like, the CZ is just phenomenal. So I even have guys that use it for bench rest, which we wouldn't consider that a bench rest rifle, but they do. And they send us, photos. And I mean, really, the rifle speaks for themselves, and that's what we tell people. Like, don't take our word for it. You don't even have to take Matt's word for it. But like,
we're not cherry picking rifles. I've had this question a lot, Matt, where people tell me, "Oh, you're obviously cherry picking rifles for your pro shooters."
For like Matt, and we don't.
I says no. In fact, I grabbed the barrel out of my stash and built one up for Dory, and she's the one competing with that.
Same thing
with actually, I think when you sent Dory's over, you were like, I didn't have time to really shoot this. I just made sure it functioned. So let me know how it works. So I was like, I'm not concerned. And then the first time I took it out, I was like, man, this thing is like out shooting like, my rifle almost. So yeah, it was really, really impressive. And that's when I think that's when I decided I was like, I got to get one of these DPG barrels for myself. So I reached out and that was awesome. I guess can you tell us a few like key features on the new Genesis action? I know a lot of people are interested to hear maybe like some of the features that you've incorporated in that.
Yeah, so the Genesis action and why we named it that is to kind of go back to the beginning of what works. There's a big push nowadays. What I'm seeing is guys are trying to make something and get around the extractor cuts and doing it for prefits, and that's for production. And the truth is that this is a rimmed cartridge. No matter how you look at it, you have to have something go around the rim and grab it, So based off my experience building these 22s and fixing and modifying these actions to perform better, I've seen and concluded, okay, what works? What firing pin system works? What I haven't seen fail? Well, that's been the Voodoo V22 system. And, this is a big credit to Mike Bush and his design and how it actually works. His Voodoo V22 will actually pick up a cartridge out of the magazine without a barrel. It's meant and designed to use the magazine spring pressure. It's meant to utilize the spring pressure and extractor geometry to capture the round before it gets into the chamber. The firing pin itself as well is just a solid one-piece bar. I haven't seen one break, knock on wood. I personally haven't seen a Voodoo firing pin spring break. It also has the ability to adjust your sear geometry, your lock timing by moving in and out your firing pin, which is a huge factor for trying to achieve the lock timing and accuracy for 22. So that's why I settled on the Genesis action having the V22 firing pin system. Not only is there a lot of Voodoo competitors out there or Voodoo owners, this will allow us to support the community with Voodoo products as well, or aftermarket products for their Voodoo is another factor.
So does it use the same Voodoo extractors?
Yep, it uses the same Voodoo extractors. You could practically put a Voodoo bolt head right into our bolt assembly and it'll work. All right. So the difference in key factors that I looked at the material, how can I improve the system? I mean, it's already a fabulous system. And I settled on using S7 tool steel. And if a quick Google search will tell you that S7 tool steel is a very awesome tool steel that is meant to hold up to shock and wear and tear from continuous shock. So that's why I use S7 tool steel on the firing pin assembly on the extractors. Anything that's going to have a lot of shock wear, it's going to hold up that way. It's a very expensive steel, but it does hold up to the wear and tear. And then, one of the things obviously from there, what we incorporated and what we had patent pending is the magazine buffer. Now, if folks don't know, there's not a standardized AICS pattern mag measurements.
Right.
So if we look at chassis manufacturers, they don't have a standardized measurement. They're just going to accommodate a large measurement to accommodate all the mags out there.
Yeah.
And like I talked about earlier, is the magazine alignment is a crucial factor to get the 22 rimfire to feed correctly. If you have canting on the mag, your alignment of the cartridge is going to be misaligned to the bolt head. If the magazine allows it to dip down, well, that's how you get your nose feed jams into the back of your barrel or into your magazine. So these things happen in a competition scenario. It doesn't happen for the bench shooter that's just going to take it out and shoot off a bench. But in the competition realm or in a hunting scenario where you're having to shoot off barricades or props, a magazine adjustment or magazine misalignment can happen. So I went and looked at it, and inspiration came from the CZ457 bottom metal or the magazine, how they incorporate the magazine alignment to the action. It's part of the action. And I said, I wonder if I could do that with the action. So the magazine buffer essentially eliminates the play and slop of the magazine by tightening up all the tolerances for that specific mag. It doesn't matter what chassis system it is. It's just a little small, TPU buffer metal that we're going to make it out of metal eventually, but it just eliminates all the slop. You can get to it from the mag well. And then with a specific mag, it will eliminate all the play on it and allow it to work.
Well, for instance, like the Voodoo mag. So he kind of eliminated that issue that they've always, Voodoo is has their caveat, I should say, really for their mag. So people have issues with that. And Kenny's been able to kind of solve that problem by, developing the mag buffer system. So he can literally, put the mag, right in the rifle, put it on the back, preload it,
that's what I was doing
right off of it.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's super helpful. And
I was doing that earlier today. I literally put all my weight on that mag on this rifle that you see in front of you. I just put this. This is a production model that we're going to be, testing it with our adjustable lug system. So yeah, I just wasn't able to get it to fail with even me and putting all my weight on the magazine. And
so this buffer, this buffer is on the bottom of the action that will contact the top of the magazine, basically.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So it's made out of rubber right now, but it gets to it from the mag well. There's a dovetail, and then there's a screw that holds it in. So it's very easy to swap out.
Yeah.
Now it is mag specific. I can say that if you put the Voodoo buffer system, you can use the L3I mags. The emphasis of this is to stick to one magazine. Yes, you can use the Voodoo mag and the L3I mag, but then you're going to have the L3I mag have the slop and play, which eliminates the whole purpose of the magazine buffer, and it's going to have a misfeed if you were to have it to jam up on a barricade or something. Now, this is where the difference is. If I put the L3I buffer in, then the Voodoo mag won't work. See, that's how you can tell the Voodoo mag is a slightly different geometry. So that's the differences on these magazines, and we're excited to see Mike Bush come out with his new mag as well.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to try to offer our system with.
It works with the Bagara mag too. It'll work with the Rimex mag. I mean, we've been able to get them, to pretty much any of those 700 mags, which is helpful too. So not spending a whole bunch of money going out buying a bunch of different mags. I mean, are proprietary to the system, I should say. But
there's not a universal mag that's going to work in the competition scenario without eliminating the tolerances.
Yeah.
So we could have made this action to say, hey, we're just going to put the big mag wheel to utilize the Rimex mag, which will then allow you to use the L3I mags, allow you to use the Voodoo mags.
Yeah.
But in a competition scenario, if you ever preload, then you're going to have a misfeed or failure, which that brings you back to square one, where you're spending thousands of dollars on a system, and then you have a misfeed and cost you points there to match.
And then the headspace is another feature.
The last feature that we added to this thing was the adjustable lug, which is the headspace. Essentially, it's very simple. It's labeled E for Ely, L for Lapua. You swap the lug around and it adjusts your headspace from Lapua, which is 43 thou, swap it to Ely, and it'll adjust it to 41 thou.
That's slick. That's slick.
Very,
really
very
cool.
Yeah, and then
nice.
that does play a huge factor. When you have fail to fire, a lot of it is because of two combinations: a light firing pin spring and overhead spacing of the bolt on Ely. If you ever have a light primer strike, sometimes it's the ammunition. I'm not going to deny that, but most of the time, which I notice in the field, when guys come up to me and they're asking why their rifles having failure to fire, it's because the headspace is excessive on their system. And Ely is, if you take a measurement, it's usually around anywhere between 38 to 42 thou on the case rim, and then Lapua is at 42 to 45. So just that few thousandths of an inch makes a huge difference. Yeah. And kind of an analogy how I can put it is the case rim has to be fully supported on the back. If it's not, it's like you're trying to punch paper in midair without having a solid back behind it.
Right.
So rimfire, in general speaking, is crucial for accuracy is the ignition system, which requires head spacing to be correct for the ammunition you're shooting.
Yeah,
that's really cool. So all your rifles basically will come with a set headspace that you can change between the two settings essentially by swapping the lug around. And is the action? I know it's a 55-degree throw, and is it a 3-lug design for the lockup?
So the lockup is very unique. This is kind of what sets this apart, is that it locks up similar to a on-shoot 1710 or CZ457 with the bolt handle being the main lug.
Okay.
But it also has lockup with the bolt stop is another lockup, and then the lug itself, the adjustable headspace lug. So there's 3 lockup positions on this, which, you know, the geometry was a lot.
Very complicated.
Yeah, very complicated.
It took a while.
But
yeah.
you know, I went back to making this thing as simple as I possibly can work, and how can I be repeatable, and that's going back to how a CZ functions on shoot 1710 or any of those work.
And we don't want to overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
And Kenny's always said that. He's like, I don't want to overcomplicate. I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I want to implement, you know, new, fresh features. Again, feedback from shooters, what they're saying out there in the field. So that's really what inspired him to implement some of the features here. But that there was some moments there that we were a little bit like, is this going to work? I mean, it was.
I had to learn a lot about the metal itself, the metal energy of how these actions are supposed to function was a big learning curve for me. Finding out what works, how to mitigate galling, how to get these metals to glide smooth, what coatings to put on there, what heat treatment you got to put on there.
Talking to metal,
talking
out
to the
best in industry, trying to be like, hey, but you know,
to come up with an action within less than 6 months with the time frame. You know, most folks that I've talked to spend years developing an action. It's a big accomplishment, and it's nerve-wracking for me because yes, it's 6 months, but it was a lot of time. We're talking 24-hour days I've spent sometimes, you know, testing these things.
Speaking of the coatings you mentioned, are you going to have these nitrided or?
They're going to be nitrided, possibly nitrided and DLC coated. The
what the best is for that, I think.
Yeah, we're trying to see the bolt. The DLC coating is a surface finish. Nitride actually penetrates the substrate of the metal about 3 micron. So that's why nitride's always good to have. You could always add DLC on top of nitride, which is actually the best, but that cures the cost as well.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. And for I guess scope-based compatibility, is that proprietary or does it use an existing scope-based design?
It's using the CZ457 scope base. I like it, and I've done a lot of destructive testing. I've actually destroyed some of these actions to see what it takes to destroy these things. And I found that the CZ457 scope base, the dovetail, 11 millimeter dovetail system, is actually a little bit more rigid than just having 4 1024 screws, or 1040 screws holding the scope base on. We're going to also eventually have our own scope base as well, which not only is it going to dovetail to the side of it as a clamp, we're also going to have screws on top to have that extra rigidity on it.
Cool.
Kind of the cool factor with the CZs, and I think, Matt, you know this, is you could remove your scope base, put it on another CZ, or swap it back and forth, and it's holding very close to zero. That dovetail system could hold to zero very well. And like I said, it's very rigid. So it uses the 457 scope base. We're going to offer these with the MDT scope base for now. Area 409s work as well, but the option of 0 all the way up to 50 MOA is available.
The Silhouette community really uses that.
Yeah, Silhouette as well. Silhouette community uses the dovetail 11 millimeter scope base as well.
Wow. Yeah, that's really awesome. Yeah, it sounds like a lot of careful thought was put into the design. So I'm interested to see one in person soon.
So what stage are you guys at in the production life cycle there?
We're in production this month, so it's kind of had a hold up with springs, and the last minute thing of my adjustable bolt lug, and then the material that used on the bolt family had a change, and that was from the wear and tear. We've had 3 rifles go through about 25,000 rounds of testing, so we put a lot of rounds in this thing within a short period of time. One rifle particularly went out in the raw metal form, and that was to see what kind of wear and tear this action is going to have and where that wear and tear is going to happen.
Yeah. We
sent out 2 actions out to destructive testing with a hydraulic press. I wanted to see where the bolt stop shears, which has been an issue with a product in the past. So it took 980 pounds on the first action. The first action was 1,140 pounds to shear the bolt stop, and that was with a 3D printed metal 3D printed bolt stop. And then the ones that we're making here are at a 17-4 stainless. Very consistently, will shear off around 980 pounds. So unless you're a He-Man, I don't think that bolt should shear off. I'm gonna knock on wood on that one, but luckily it's an easy replacement part. But that's been a failure with some of the actions out there.
Yeah, we got about 44 clients that had the Rimex previously that wanted to wait for Kenny's action. So that's what we're working on this month is getting them taken care of, getting stuff back from nitride, and is when those components come back in, like he said, the springs kind of held us up a little bit, but now that we have them, hopefully we can start getting going. We want to get them taken care of first, obviously and foremost. They've hung in there since January, so they're like almost on year 2, and by choice, they absolutely could have gone with the Rimex. We gave that option to our clients, but they've hung in there, so they'll be the first to get them. Once I get them figured out, we're hoping to take it care of this month and see if we can get these out, and that way we can offer it to the general public, obviously following the fulfillment of those 44 guys. So our goal is fall. We wanted to do early fall, so now we're somewhere maybe end of fall we might be, but we'll definitely update people, and we tell everybody when they call in or they ask questions to go on the website, dpgunworks.com. You can click on the Build Your Rifle tab, click on Rimfire. You'll see the Genesis there, and if you click on the Genesis, it'll ask you a couple questions. You're not held to any of those questions. It just gives us a general idea of what kind of configuration folks are looking for.
Yeah.
But there will be a notify me button that's underneath there. If clients click that, or potential clients, I should say, click that, what it does is you just put your email in, and then anytime we update, which we haven't yet, but we will shortly, any information about the Genesis, it'll automatically notify you an email, and then we will have a definitive date. So we're not going to just throw it on everybody, but we'll let everybody know leading up to our launch. And we're going to build as many as we can build to have them ready to ship. And
we invested in these CNC machines coming in. There's 3 of them coming in. So
that helps keep up with demand. So the machines are crucial for demand and keeping up with that. So we're going to try to do it ready to ship. We don't want to lead time. We want to kind of eliminate that and build these as barreled actions. So that's how they're going to start. With barreled actions ready to go.
Yeah, it will be configured in left hand as well. We had a lot of left hand requests.
Yeah.
And then we also have requests for right hand, left port. So we'll have that option as well, where you could change your port size.
Yeah.
I was able to break out my machining in sections where I could call up my program and I could configure an action body to be right hand, left port, or vice versa, however you want to configure. And then
are you guys making a single shot version?
Yeah,
so
the single shot's the next realm to all of this. Now, with the magazine buffer that we have, patent pending, we do have a single shot adapter for folks that want to take their platform and compete single feed.
Yeah.
But we will have a dedicated single shot. I'm thinking kind of chasing the same realm as a V22 single shot or V22S.
Yeah. Cool.
Since I have I got the firing pin assembly as a Voodoo. I could just swap over to the 6 o'clock firing pin position and go from there. I do want to incorporate some more rigidity to the system by including a flat bottom action and a mid-locking lug, just similar to a 2500X. That's something I'll probably, after this launches, I'll look into that.
Yeah.
Wow. So there's a chance that some people would have this under the Christmas tree this year.
Yeah,
that's our goal.
That's our goal.
We want everyone to have a Merry Christmas and
so the $1 million to Travis is, how are you going to help get these to Canada, Travis?
Yeah. So I guess any sales for Canada are going to be going through me. And what I've been trying to do to set it up is to order once a month. So, I'll get essentially one shipment a month if you are interested in it. Right now, I don't have pricing on the website because that's always changing with import fees and stuff like that. Yeah. And shipping from the US we have to work with an exporter. So we're held to their timelines a little bit, but I'm hoping, if I order at the end of 1 month, within probably 3 to 4 weeks, I should have them ready to ship from Canada.
Cool. I didn't realize you were already set up to bring in rifles, Travis. So that's actually really exciting.
Yeah, we're
for him. I think we're going to see him grow pretty well.
Yeah, Travis is great to work with. He's super responsive. I mean, any of our Canadian clients, I always direct them over to Travis. And so, yeah, I mean, Travis, you can explain a little bit about maybe how the process works. So, and then again, so everybody knows, like, we work directly with Travis. There's no middleman besides like exportation, what she's explaining. There's a difference when we have to export and whatnot. But yeah, we work with him directly. I mean, and if you guys want any products or if there's anything, rifle builds, CZs, the new Genesis, Travis is your guy to contact. Because I get a lot of emails, and of course I redirect you guys to Travis. But yeah, Travis, if you kind of want to explain that too, like that way they'll kind of know where to go to.
Yeah, essentially on my website, there's a contact me button as well. You just send me an email to sales@bossgear.ca saying, this is what I want. I'll usually respond within a couple hours, at most a day, to say, okay, if this is what you want, here's the pricing. So the way I break it down is, here's the price for the rifle, and that gets paid. And then once I get the rifle, I'll know what the import fees and the shipping will be. So there will be a second payment, because again, it's a flat fee to ship from the US, whether I ship 2 rifles or 20 rifles, the shipping fee is the same, right? So that will get spread out on the order. And then, like I said, I just let DPG know what I want for that month, and they have a pretty quick turnaround to get the rifles in the customer's hands.
Yeah, we're trying to support your Canadian shooters up there as best we can. I don't know if there's many other shops doing that, but you guys are a lot of really good talent, and just want to make sure you guys get the products you need up there.
Yeah.
Ammunition, obviously, we're all hoping that ammunition turns around, but.
Yeah. But Travis, I mean, he did reach out to us way prior, just so you other Canadians know, like Travis, a long time ago, really tried hard to advocate for you guys and get products there. So, and he's had to wait just like everybody else, just like our American clients, but now his turn has came up. And so now we can supply him. He's put in those orders about how many he needs. Yeah. And then we can, sufficiently provide that to him now, because we still work directly with CZ. And so we want to make sure, again, that we can keep up as well, and that doesn't backlog our clients, because I'll have people ask that, but it has nothing to do with that. We do first come, first serve. But Travis has taken that time, and waited his turn. So I don't want to get calls asking about that.
The lead times will be going down simply because we're now patrolling our own product, and then the big investment we made on CNC machinery. My sons are going to be helping me in the shop here.
And we have Dave too. We still have another riflesmith that works with us. So it does speed things up, and he's helped us tremendously try to move lead times, get a hold of them, catch them up. But it's important for the Canadian clients to know, if you want a CZ, or the new Genesis, ask Travis. And again, any questions that you guys have, you're welcome to contact us directly too. Any of the clients, Canada or wherever, can always call our shop too and ask us any questions. Or Travis, but we're more than happy. We're excited to get these over there, because I know Matt. There's a few other Canadian shooters like Jason. He's another
Colin's another.
And Colin, yes, and and Dory, of course. And so, I mean, we really want to be able to.
We need your feedback. We don't know if this is going to be good. I want to be humble that way. I don't know until it's out in the field and you guys tell me. So
it's going to be good.
Yeah.
He's too nice, but this action it's phenomenal. I mean, when you guys get your hands on it and you see it, of course, we love your feedback, but we worked really, really hard on it. And so we just wanted to make sure that we could give you guys a rifle that you're proud of, eliminate all the other issues that we've seen, and do our best and give it our best shot. And, but yeah, if you guys ever, have any questions, us or Travis, let us know. And, we're more than happy. And we do custom Cerakote as well. So, you've seen the trigger shoes Kenny made, special for our Canadian clients. We put the little maple leaf in there. And my son asked if you guys if it was supposed to be a moose. It's not their symbol. He's like, it was so funny. He's like, why? I could do a moose, or what was he saying? A sap or maple syrup. I'm like, what are you saying?
He's not far off.
It was funny, but he was talking about all these different designs.
He's bringing a Rocky and Bullwinkle. I'm like, that's a U.S. cartoon.
We're like, no. Well, it's Canadian, but still, we were laughing. But I mean, any of the custom Cerakote work too. I mean, let us know. Ryan does great, and Hope, and they work in the the Cerakote booth and do all that. So if you guys want that, we do it here as well. Again, customize anything that you guys want to do.
Right.
They have a website as well. It's dpcerakote.com. So it's pretty easy to remember. We're DP Gunworks, they're DP Cerakote. And they have all their photos, chassis recommendations. They also can provide chassis for clients as well. And so any type of like design or whatever, I mean, they do whatever, but it's important to know because they Cerakote in-house and they're exclusive just to our clients anyway. So we don't, do any work outside of that with them.
Okay.
So if you guys want anything and like a one-stop shop that way, we can absolutely do that. And then of course, any of the accessories that Kenny offers too. Of course, Travis is trying to keep up and stock those as well. And we're working hard to make sure we can get him as many as possible. But, there's different things you could do, bolt knobs, extractors, trigger shoes to customize, the CZ in general. And then, of course, the Genesis will have more options available too, more customization. Right. So feel free to reach out.
I guess Travis is going to have to work on the ordering process, I guess, to be able to take advantage. Or are you limiting the number of options available, Travis? Or I don't know if you guys have talked about that yet. But do we have access to the full suite of options from DPG?
Yeah, pretty much whatever people want. So right now I carry the extractors I have in stock. I try to keep them in stock, but this is the first time in about 6 months that they haven't sold out before I receive the shipment. So I'll do a pre-order so people can reserve theirs. So extractors, I have some in stock. Bolt knobs and the trigger shoes are coming hopefully by the end of the month, give or take.
Yeah, they're getting them right now. So
Yep. Bolt knobs are done.
Yeah, bolt knobs are done. They just
trigger shoes.
They run overnight.
Oh, those take forever.
Are the bolt knobs for CZs or are they also for other rifle? Like what threads are they made in?
Yeah, they are a standard M6 by 1 thread, so you can put them on the Bagara, or any of the bolt handles that have an M6 thread. You can put those bolt knobs there. So I believe it was I can't think of the top of my name brand that allows you to have Anarchy Outdoors. You can get one of the Anarchy Outdoors. Okay. Yeah.
And the good news is when you break your Bergara bolt handle, you can just put it in your pocket and bring it home. Just put it on your CZ.
It's funny because Travis and I were in a squad a few weeks back and someone had a Bergara and the bolt handle snapped off. So anyway, should we jump to some of the question submissions that we got? Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe I'll do because I kind of broke them down into questions for Matt and questions for DPG. Oh, yeah. So maybe we'll just go back and forth.
Sure. Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
You're in the hot seat, Matt.
Yeah, I guess so. Although I'll go back just because I was reading the comments here.
Yeah.
Someone asked right when we started the stream, what rifle and ammo did I shoot at Worlds? Rifle was the DPG Voodoo and ammo was Ely 10X. So boom, one question done.
Done. Yeah. One question I had, we kind of went from the 457 to the Genesis. We didn't really talk about headspace on 457. So does it come headspace for Lapua or Ely? And then how do you adjust that?
Yeah. So I always headspace them. I try to entice people to headspace for just Lapua, simply because there are bolt shims out there to tighten up your headspace. The fact is, or the factor is, if you headspace it for Ely and you start shooting like CCI standard velocity, or you start shooting Lapua, that adds more strain and stress to the bolt, which induces more wear. So if you headspace it tighter and you start shooting ammunition that's not headspace to that, you will have a harder bolt lockdown. It could also start causing issues with extraction because now you're swaging the case into the chamber. So for folks that, generally speaking, I always call them and ask them, are you going to only shoot Ely? Because if you are, then we'll put a chamber in there that's specifically designed for Ely, which is basically the lead angle, and then headspace it for that. However, if the Lapua chamber is that we have, we can still headspace it for Ely or with the bolt shim, but it will shoot either or. It will have a favoritism towards Lapua because of the lead angle being a 2 degree. But generally speaking, we only headspace them for Ely unless the client specifically says that's all I'm going to shoot.
That's all they're going to shoot. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I sell the trigger shims as well, so they could use those to do a bolt shim on it if they need to. Okay.
Yeah, this all it is a simple bolt shim, tighten up your headspace. The chamber that I put on the Lapua is very forgiving. It will shoot Ely. I mean, Matt has it. He's been shooting Ely, and that's a Lapua chamber he has, and it will shoot Ely very well. You just have to find the lot that it likes.
Yeah, I can attest to that. I've been shooting Ely now for actually maybe 3.5 seasons, 4 seasons, and ever since I got Kenny's barrels, I think we had discussed this because at the time I wasn't an Ely shooter. And I had to just shoot, whatever we could find up in Canada. So we had discussions about being able to shoot both SK, Lapua, Ely, like RWS. And I said, do your thing. And he can make it happen. So it's good.
That's a perfect segue to another question that was asked. One guy said, it seems like a lot of the high-end ammos are difficult to get right now. So are there other recommendations for ammo when the high-end ammo is scarce?
I shoot CCI standard velocity for the NRL 22 matches out here. It's only going out to 100 yards, and generally speaking, that's one MOA, if that, at 100 yards. They're typically 1.5 to 2 MOA on the courses of fire. So these rifles are capable of holding a 0.4, the half-inch group at 50 meters, and right about a 1 inch at 100, which is more than suitable if you have a good position and good solid hold. To compete at top level, even with CCI standard velocity. If CCI standard velocity isn't available, or if you want to step it up, then you got the Norma TAC 22. It's been hard for us to get Norma TAC 22. I'm not sure how it is there in Canada. Secondly, the SK standard and SK rifle is the other choice.
Yeah, I would also say maybe plan ahead. Like a lot of shooters, since Rimfire is exploding and ammo is becoming harder to find, if you want to shoot, like let's say your gun favors X type of ammo and you can actually find it in stock, well, see maybe how much you shoot a year and buy the quantity that you can shoot all the matches with that. And then when you go and practice, maybe use like a slightly lower tier of ammo to sort of reserve the good stuff for the competitions that matter. That's what I did all the time.
No,
and then lot test centers are really underrated. I don't think a lot of people use them a lot, and maybe perhaps because of the cost of a case of ammo is about $1,200 USD to $1,400, $1,600, depending if you go minus plus. The fact is that you're getting 5,000 rounds of ammo, and you can split that cost with your friends. I'm not going to tell you how to do this, but if you set up a lot test center, that's a way to get Lapua ammo.
I think Canada has one.
They're going to have one pretty soon.
Yeah, I heard that. Well, I heard that they do, but that the one that they had a client tell me that today, but that it was hard to get into or something. Or I mean,
lot testing in Canada isn't really a thing right now, but I do hear that it might be changing shortly, which is really exciting for us, for sure.
Yeah, it will change. I mean, it's important as well too.
Yeah, we got Ely in Ohio too as well. We've been getting really good feedback with our rifles going there. So
Georgia, Ely in Georgia.
Ely in Georgia, okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's worth going to the lot test center. Once you get around 1,000 rounds of ammo down your barrel, and you see yourself competing more often, and just spend the money and get the lot testing done, and get yourself 5,000 rounds. That should last you a while, unless you're like me, where I'm having to shoot all this rifles with about a case of one.
Here's another pro tip for shooters and going through ammo quickly. When you're at the zero board in the morning, you don't have to shoot 100 rounds to get a 50-yard zero. Like I see some shooters in the morning, they're just like mag after mag, and I'm just like, what are you trying to achieve here? So anyway, try and reserve your good match ammo, basically.
We got a comment. Lapua Midas Plus from the test center right now is over $2,000 USD.
Oh wow! Oh, it's John. Hey, Jonathan, how's it going?
Hey, John. Hey, he's a match director there in my old gun range,
California, I think. Yeah.
Okay. For Matt, I'm summarizing the question. It was essentially, how did you improve so quickly, and what's the best way to get into the sport affordably?
So I don't know about quickly. It took me 5 full seasons of PRS seasons to get to where I am now. And you can see how much I've been traveling and shooting. So it's been a lot of work. I will say targeted training is best. Like just shooting for volume isn't really going to help anything. Like you really got to break down your training regimen, which is a whole nother topic, but basically figure out what you're bad at and practice that in a nutshell. And in turn, sorry, what was the second part of the question? Was
to get into the sport affordably.
Oh, affordably. Yes.
Honestly, depends on your definition of affordable.
Well, not only that, but like, I think Kenny and Ashley spoke to this earlier, but the barrier of entry to rimfire is going to be probably the lowest in almost any shooting discipline. And you really have to sort of push aside all these fancy rifle builds that you see on the line because it's not necessary. And like any other sport, as it matures and as people become more competitive and they want, and you know, if you have a bunch of gearheads anyway, like they always want to try the best. But if you want to just get into it and have a good time, I mean, you can shoot in the factory or production division with off-the-shelf rifles, no problem. Like, you know, even Savages have good offerings. You know, the Mark II is like the mags are, I guess, the downside, but they're plenty accurate for rifles, you know, and like even a Ruger American rimfire, like it can get you pretty far until you sort of outgrow that gun, if you will. Yeah,
I mean, you can get a CZ synthetic with a 20-inch barrel for what, like $800, something like that.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Under 1,000, let's call it.
Yeah.
Put a Vortex Venom on it, and you're shooting, and that rifle will probably outshoot a new PRS competitor probably for the first 3 years. Just like that, right? So,
yeah, I would say so. Like Dory was shooting that. I can't remember what it's called. Varmint, I think. The CZ Varmint. It's just a 16-inch wood stock. Yeah. And she was like shooting lights out with that thing. And then when we're shooting prone side by side, like it can hold its own in terms of accuracy. Like the gun, the only thing holding back the gun for a normal shooter would be the weight and balance and stuff like that. But you can definitely get started on the cheap for sure. And then ammo wise, like low match grade ammo. I shouldn't say low, like cheaper match grade ammo is still going to outshoot a new shooter, you know, 10 times. So you don't have to really worry.
Standard, right?
Yeah, or like SK Yellow Box Standard Plus is great to start on. It's really consistent. So yeah.
Cool.
Tika T1X is also a good platform. I've had a lot of people ask me about that, and I says there's kind of a secret caveat which I'll share to you guys. Is you buy a Tika T1X and go to Amazon and buy barrel collar shafts. These little collars. You want the ones that clamp. You don't want the ones that put a set screw into the barrel. We put about 2 to 3 of those at the end of the barrel. And for some reason, every single Tika, this is like over 20 that I played with, it's all settled in. It just likes weight on the barrel. And man, they hammer. They just hammer. I don't know what it is about it. They just work really well. We had a national winner, champion, 2 years ago with a Tika. So I should tell you there with the factory Tika.
Oh yes, yeah. That was Zane.
Yeah,
yeah,
I think so.
Yeah. Zane, the youth shooter. Yeah.
So, the accuracy only gets you so far, and a lot of it is just practice. You got to go out there with attention to learn a certain aspect of the shooting sport. Like, how do you build a position on the rooftop? Work on getting up there, build a position, and find out what bag works for you, how you can settle in and get a shot off in 8 seconds. A nice, accurate shot, you know, and be able to hold an MOA group. So you have to go to these NRL 22 matches or just whatever you can to practice if that's what you're trying to compete in. And, you know, you can do it with CCI standard velocity in a good rifle. So I've been doing that lately.
All right. One of them was for DPG, pros and cons of a 1 in 14 twist. And I added to it, is gain twist a thing in Rimfire?
So yeah, this has been a long debate, or I'm going to base this off of
our own experience in testing.
Well, not only that, but this is a 200-plus-year-old cartridge that's been thoroughly tested throughout the years, right? So if faster twist rates gain anything, it would have been shown in data. You talk to the engineers of Lapua, they still make these things for a 16.7 twist. A lot of the misconception, what I'm going to say, based off my opinion and experience, is that folks are seeing a gain at longer distance with quote-unquote a faster twist rate. What they're not taking account of is the barrel that they're using. for instance, if you're using a Mueller Works barrel, the Mueller Works produces a very high RA4 or G1BC value. That's very similar to a Schillen. So you're in the twos. And this is verified using an older 35P chronograph that I've been taking data off of. The benefit and what you can achieve in long range accuracy is if you can increase the BC value of the projectile, then you're going to have less dispersion at longer distances. That could be misconstrued to the faster twist rate. So when you talk about faster twist rates, are you gaining much at all? I personally don't see it. If you take a statistical shot of 100 shots at a distance of 300 meters back to back versus a 16 twist barrel, if they hold the same value, RA4 or G1BC, you're not going to see a difference between a 1 to 14 and a 1 to 16. And this is shooting in the elements. You take it a factor, a 1 mile per hour gust of wind coming at you, then you have your, you have your wind drift, you have all of that that comes into play, spin drift, when you have all of that. So it's like you can't really narrow down a faster twist rate. Now, there is testing that's being done, and I have tested this with a very fast twist rate with like a 1 in 7, 1 in 9 twist, that at certain density altitudes and certain aspects when the weather conditions are perfect, I have seen some increased accuracy, but it's a very, very picky barrel. So when when guys ask me, why do you recommend a 1 in 16 over faster twist rates? It's simply because what I'm trying to achieve for you guys is the pickiness of the barrel. I want you guys to pick match grade ammo and not have to worry about finding the lot of ammo that it wants to shoot. What I've noticed is when you go with a faster twist rate barrel, like a 1 in 12, 1 in 13, you're now dealing with a pickier barrel that's going to want a specific lot of ammo. And another thing to take account of when you start spinning these projectiles faster, if you look at the composition, and I broke this down with a few videos, the lead composition isn't pure lead. There's always defects in the lead. There's always impurities in the lead. Those impurities cause an imbalance. When you start spinning the projectile faster, those imbalances come out in those forces, and that's why you get those flyers as well. So you have to find a lot of ammo that has those imbalances, less imbalances that will work with that 1 in 14 twist. Personally speaking, I've actually competed for over a year with a 1 in 12 twist barrel, and I thought it was a hammer until I shot against the wind. When I'm shooting towards the wind and or against the wind, I kept noticing my vertical striation, and this is at 100 yards. I'm like, man, I can't hit this KYL rack. What is it? Well, I've noticed that the spin drift came in effect with me. But generally speaking, longer distance performance, I think a lot of folks need to start realizing that some barrels, like a Schillen barrel or a Mueller Works barrel, they will produce a higher G1 BC or RA4 BC. That's what our barrels are designed as well, to be in the 0.2s. And that will increase your accuracy, but you can't pinpoint your twist rate being the key factor to that.
So what do you call longer distance? Like outside 300 meters type thing?
I'd say a 22 is accurate as far as being able to take a very confident, accurate shot. I'm going to say 250 yards and in. I say 225, maybe, but that's at the best conditions. You get any kind of gust of wind. Yeah. We're noticing these matches are starting to bring in the distances of these targets and make them MOA, which is going to be the same realm as center fire, versus trying to reach out and do a Hail Mary at 340 meters or 400 meters.
Yeah. I was gonna say the same thing. We've been noticing a trend. A lot of the matches are moving targets inwards and making them smaller because it's more about skill and less about conditions and luck. Like, we love reaching out. Like, I mean, we've shot a few 400+ yard targets at matches before, and it's a blast. But in terms of fairness across the entire field, especially if it's like a 2-day match and the conditions are different each day, it is more fair. And like Worlds in the UK, the furthest distance target wasn't more than 200 and I want to say 20 yards. So everything was within 250 for sure. And I think it's actually sort of better testing for skill. Again, I think shooting like what I would consider ELR, I would say like 250 plus with rimfire is a ton of fun. And I still love doing it, but that's the trend we're seeing for sure.
The impression I always got was you're sacrificing accuracy 100 yards and in for accuracy 250 yards and beyond. So how many shots are you going to have 250 plus versus 100 in.
Yeah.
Well, it brings me up a scenario. I walked up to a stage one time. It was 335 yards with a 10-inch mover for rimfire. I walked away with a 0. I said, no,
I'm gonna say, you may as well fire from the hip.
Yeah. I'll save my ammo. I'll save $4 at the stage.
But I think what to Matt, just speaking to like what you're saying too, Matt, is about like the skill level. I know that you've complained about some of these matches, or you and Ryan, about how they set them up and it's not really for skill. And we're noticing kind of
there's and this is just me trying to learn the sport as well. But some of the stages is kind of a mind game, and they'll put targets out where they look like they're closer to you, but they're not. They're the further targets. So, that's where I always want to reach out to Matt's skill set. Like, how do you work
find
that
them
out?
and then it gets pretty choppy out there.
Yeah, we'll be at the East Coast matches pretty soon. I'm hoping to attend some of those matches with you.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
I think Matt, you already answered this question. Your favorite DPG rifle? You can't say all of them.
Well, I mean, currently the one with his barrel on it is awesome. But if you were asking me the most sentimental one, it's definitely the Schillen, because that was the first one I got from him, and that was my first ever custom rifle. And I think I'd have to double check my stats, but I think to date that is the rifle I have podiumed with and won the most matches with, is the Schillen, because I shot that for 2 full seasons. And then the DPG barrel I've only had for not even one season. I think I got it like in April or May, something like that. So the Schillen is definitely most sentimental, and I will never get rid of it. If I stop shooting it, I'll just frame it and put it on the wall. Like, that's how much I like it. So yeah.
And the other one was your process for sighting day at a match. Any tips? You pretty well had said it, but
so basically I like to trust my zero. And what I mean by that is, if I go up, because rimfire, everyone knows, is a little bit like finicky and conditions can change it and things. But if I know I've shot in these conditions before, just the past weekend, it was just on point. A lot of people will start moving their zero round on match day, and I don't really subscribe to that unless there's a big shift for some reason. I'll probably just leave my turrets as is, and I won't shoot anything more than at like max is 3 mags, but usually I do 1 mag to foul, because I'll start with a clean chamber. I'll just foul with 1 mag, and then maybe if I want velocities, I'll shoot another mag, and that's it. So usually it's 10 to 20 rounds in the morning. I'm not there for too long unless I need to do something with my rifle. But a lot of guys, I think, are getting too in their own minds at the zero board, and it sort of affects their mental game, because you'll see them shoot like 2 boxes of ammo and they're lying on the line for 20 minutes. And I don't think that's the best way to start a match, in my opinion. So that's what I do anyway, and it's working pretty well for me. And it's funny you mention that. Yeah.
Sorry, just a follow up. So does that mean you clean your chamber after every match?
Yes. So I used to go a few matches between cleanings, but now after every match, I have the same procedure. I clean out my chamber. I leave my board dirty, but I'll push a patch through just to get all the gunk out. So I start every match with a clean chamber and a semi-clean bore. And then I just know it, the DPG barrel, I don't even think it takes like 3 rounds to settle. I can already see that on the zero board. So within my first mag, it's already coming in nice tight groups, and then I'll just run with it. Yeah, for sure. But I was going to mention, in the UK, that match was quite controversial in the way that there was no zero boards in the morning. So you couldn't zero day of, because of the strict time that you had to actually shoot during the day there. So you really had to trust your zero on your rifle in the UK, both your rifle and your scope, obviously. And I think that was playing into a lot of people's mental game, because, if they have a bad first stage, they're automatically doubting if it's their gear or themselves. So yeah, just different vibes.
That's a pretty wild thing to do, because if you're having issues halfway through a match, lots of people will go back to the zero board. The first thing they do is check their zero.
So right? They did have zero boards, but you were only technically allowed to use it if you had a equipment failure. So I think how they stated it, you couldn't just check zero normally like you would at a match. So we were sort of having to function a little differently there.
Okay. But Out of that, my question for DPGs, barrel break-in for 22s, is that a thing, or are you just they're good to go?
It's so
Not
not necessarily. So generally speaking, I see the accuracy right away. However, there is a seasoning to the barrel.
Yeah.
After 700 rounds, it settles in.
Yeah.
Something that I don't know what the science is behind it. I know Ryan there at the Mesa Test Center, Lapo could kind of explain what it is, but they personally see barrels settle in and get better lot test performance when there's around 700 to 1,000 rounds. And whereas I go out and I could shoot 0.3 groups right out of the first 15, 20 shots of the rifle. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I'm also looking for a cold bore ship. I could tell if the rifle's gonna have a cold bore ship within the first 5 shots. Is there a break-in period? Perhaps, and it depends who builds the rifle and how it's chambered. What you're looking in is the tooling marks of the chamber. So, I don't use a reamer, and that's one of my secrets of how I build these rifles. I don't use reamers for my chamber. I have a specific process, but it eliminates all the tooling marks on the rifling and the chamber. So when you're talking about a break-in period, lead it's not a hard enough material to quote unquote lap out any kind of tooling marks. It will require like JB bore paste or something like that to lap out a barrel or X amount of rounds of the primer or whatever corrosion that's basically shooting out of the ammo. I don't think there is a break-in period for us. It's just the quality of the barrel. If your barrel isn't shooting right away, from from my experience, out of the first 100 rounds, it does 1,000 rounds later. It's not going to shoot that much better.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to tell you. Like, you could spend all that money and all your time trying to figure out, put tuners on there, trying to lap out your barrel. Yeah. It's just worth it. Just rebarreling your rifle, saving you the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, here's a question for Kenny, just off the top of my head. Have you ever seen on a precision rifle specifically a rimfire barrel that's been shot out, like with enough rounds through it, or have you never seen that?
No. I actually have an 22 that I've been playing with a fun switch, and
that's why I said precision rifle specifically.
Yeah. A precision rifle, I want to say has been shot out. I could say it's been cleaned out, and what I mean by that is the cleaning regimen, bad cleaning habits of guys that pull back a bronze brush through the crown will round out a crown and now destroy a crown. If you're too aggressive on your chamber trying to get that carbon ring out, that can destroy accuracy as well. I mean, it's basically the user, how they clean and maintain the rifle. It can result to degradation of accuracy.
Cool.
Do you have a recommendation of what people should follow to clean their DPGs?
I like, to me, I just make it a habit after every match, go through your rifle, not only clean the rifle, but check all your screws, check your scope base, get it to where it's match ready the next time you go out and take it out again. That's just a habit that I like to do, is maintain my firearm. It's kind of also a cool little time where you get to sit down, relax, and kind of mentor what you need to do for the next match. Not only go through your own rifle, but just maintain it.
You use like Freeall. I mean, there's
I use Freeall. Freeall is kind of a cool little product now. It's kind of like PB Blaster, and what's a unique product about that is a lot of the F-class centerfire shooters use it. It attacks carbon, and it's fairly cheap. You can buy it in cases of 10. But it's really meant to attack carbon. It takes the elbow grease out of it. I say, generally speaking, if you shoot a lot of Ely, you will see some like sand blasting or pitting in the rifling. That's just aesthetic. I haven't seen that degrade accuracy. Some folks try to lap that out with JB bore paste. Leave the bore alone. I like to focus on just the chamber, get the carbon ring out, and then run a patch through the whole bore with a brush once, and that's it. And not really focus on scrubbing the length of the barrel.
Yeah. I do something similar. Generally speaking, nothing touches my bore except for patches. But if I do use a brush, I might brush it. I'm not even kidding, like once a season. So
yeah. The best tool, honestly, is get yourself one of those Tesla bore scopes and see if you got a carbon ring. You're going to know if you have an issue with a carbon ring because one, you're going to start seeing these crazy flyers, or your SDs are going to start spiking. You're going to start having rounds that shoot 1,100 feet a second and back down to 1060. That's going to be a good indication of a carbon ring that's holding up on your chamber. And then confirm it with a test line force scope. Just watch your carbon ring. When you have chambers that jam a lot, that you're jamming that lead round 120 plus, that will tend to carbon ring up very quickly in comparison to chambers that have less jam.
But it is really important because we've gotten rifles, our own rifles. People will call and say, "Oh, I don't know, like
if they lost accuracy."
Yeah, and we're like, look, I mean, Kenny explained, like, accuracy doesn't deplete over time. Like, just like when you, like he was explaining, if you buy a rifle and it doesn't shoot to start with, it's probably not going to get much better. So when that happens, we know that something's changed. So just something as simply as cleaning your rifle, especially the products people are using,
or a loose scope base.
Yeah, it does make a huge difference. It's important to clean your rifle after every match. I mean, you have to. And they send it in and do all this work to send it in through their FFL and pay all the shipping, and then it's like literally you didn't clean the rifle.
I hate making that call.
I know.
I've had a guy recently, and it's complaining. I said, "Yeah, we warranty our rifles. Here's a shipping label." Got the rifle back to us, and
it's dirty.
Big carbon ring on it and a loose scope base. And I'm like,
yeah,
tighten up the scope base first. I didn't even clean the rifle. I just tightened the scope base, and I went out and shot .3.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, I know you shoot better than I do. I saw what he does. His groups are in the ones, and then I cleaned the barrel, and it got a little bit better. I said, well, I think it's back to where it was.
And you guys would hate Rick's rifles. Rick never cleans his rifles.
What's cleaning?
Yeah, guilty. I'll just think, oh man, can't remember that. Yeah, it's embarrassing.
Yeah. Well, it's important, and it is a tool. So just look at it that way. I mean, it is a tool.
Take care of
you got a nice tool that someone built for you. Just like if you have an expensive tool at home, you just want to take care of it. And I didn't even know how important it was. But doing this for so long now, I'm like, this is just literally this, and there's just certain paste and stuff they use that we've seen just some crazy. You don't want to know the things that we've seen in the shop. So nobody should feel embarrassed. You shouldn't feel embarrassed. Like it happens. But sometimes people don't know that. But yes, it is extremely important to clean.
And then when you're cleaning, I always take account of your trigger. Cover your trigger. Don't let your cleaning solvents get down to your trigger.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of the trigger techs, since they have a sealed void warranty from opening it up. When you get a lot of the Vortec products, it becomes a gelatin substance inside that trigger, and it starts jamming up the trigger. So, bore guides are good, but keep in mind that when you spray solvent, just have something, put like a cloth or a rag down where your trigger doesn't get any of the solvent in there.
Are there any products that are definitely no-nos, like do not put this in your rifle, that people will...
I'm gonna say this, and it's nothing to do with Mr. Cortina, but CLR. I don't recommend it for our barrels.
I've seen it destroy.
Yeah, it literally eats up the stainless steel barrel.
Yeah.
Stainless in our barrel. Now, our barrel composition is slightly softer. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's the reason for it, but definitely do not use CLR in our barrels. And that's about it.
There was a paste that you didn't like. That do you need more paste?
Well, yeah. I've seen people use valve grinding compound. I don't know. It's a craziness.
Well, it gels up is what happens. Sometimes it'll gel up in there.
The Hoppies is a good product for cleaning. However, in mixing with the carbon and stuff that's from shooting the 22s, it becomes a gelatin substance where you can see it in the threads. You can see it gum up in places that you can't get to, your tracker cuts and all that. It turns into a gel, which becomes a magnet for abrasive and carbon and debris.
Yeah.
So I like to stick to petroleum-based products. That's why I use Freol, because it is petroleum-based, and it doesn't do that.
Cool. I think that's all good information for people to have. I'm glad that, because cleaning can be such a mystery. There's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, but everyone's going to do it differently. But it's good to have some, definitely do not do this, and definitely do this.
Yeah, but definitely clean. I would say the success at the match starts, at home.
Yeah,
I agree.
I agree as well. And then a bore guide. Don't just ram through your stainless rod down without a bore guide. So, that will destroy a barrel.
Austin asked me, chances of a bigger Boskier bag being made something closer to the AG medium +1. So right now the MC is bigger than the pint size, but smaller than the medium. And the other model, there's the Elite Series BB and there's the new FDN. They are both the same size as the +1. Okay. Next, Matt from Kyle. Shoulder pressure, free recoil, grip pressure. How much is right when you're shooting? It's going to vary shooter to shooter, but
yeah,
what do you
it'll
do?
vary. So I should also preface my answer was I didn't really have like professional training for PRS. I just do what works. But for me personally, I always have shoulder pressure. I hardly ever free recoil unless for some reason it's like some weird awkward position that I have to. But I always have shoulder pressure in the gun. And I think something that I do differently that I wouldn't necessarily recommend is that I actually have quite a bit of hand pressure on my gun too. But I don't know if that's right or wrong. It's just something that I do and I've noticed just watching other shooters.
It's working
for me. Yeah, I will say though, like whatever you do, consistency is actually the most key for PRS. It's not so much like, especially I know like rimfire shooters get some flack because we can get sloppy and get away with it per se, whereas centerfire you'll get punished for bad fundamentals right away. But my general rule of thumb, because I've shot a handful of centerfire matches, is if I wouldn't do that with my centerfire rifle, I'm not going to try and do that with my rimfire rifle in terms of fundamentals, and then just consistency. So you want to break down your process so you're always getting on the gun, you know, shoulder pressure, everything. It always feels the same. All your movements, you know, bolt manipulation, how you put your hand on your grip to the trigger, everything is just consistent, and that's how you build consistency shot to shot. So that's what I would concentrate on anyway.
That makes sense. The one just came in, dry firing your 457s and Genesis.
Oh yeah, that's a good. I don't dry fire my 457s because I've seen breach damage from that before. I think Voodoos were they were marketed as dry fire safe, but I don't know about Kenny's Genesis action. Is that dry fire safe, Kenny?
Yeah, so since it uses the Voodoo V22 firing pin assembly, there is a positive stop where it hits the bolt head and it doesn't protrude past the bolt head. You can dry fire it, however, it's still a bad practice to do that without having anything in front of the bolt head. So I always recommend just get yourself, go to your hardware store and get yourself some of those
drywall anchors.
Drywall anchors, yep.
Yeah.
In the barrel.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a lot of stress, like you mentioned. If there's nothing supporting the bolt head, you know, that spring over and over and over is gonna maybe, you know, cause some damage. So I don't try and dry fire my rim fires. I mean, the occasional one isn't gonna hurt anything though. But when I dry fire, a lot of people don't know this, but I actually have my safety on. So I don't actually feel the trigger break when I dry fire, but I just do it to get all the motions, and then I live fire practice enough to do that, because again, I want to maintain my rifles as best as possible.
Yeah, it just adds more wear and tear to the spring. Springs do fatigue over time, which is, you know, where I'm going to bring up. It is a maintenance item that should be replaced or at least looked after if you start noticing some issues. But when you dry fire a lot, that's just going to put more strain in your spring. Again, you got a firing pin assembly that's impeding into the back of another metal object. That, you know, it's just not a good habit mechanical wise to keep doing that without having something solid to keep it from the vibration, or keep, you know, pinging it further forward than what it's supposed to do.
All right, two more for each. Matt, how do you practice with intent rather than just going through motions, like either dry firing or live firing? Is there certain things like build and breaks that you practice, or is it like what? Yeah, you mentioned earlier having a goal, right? But
yes,
like, what does that look like?
So again, it's going to be very specific to the shooter, but I will say the one thing I notice in terms of common mistake for practicing is using a shot timer. A lot of shooters, when they dry fire or live fire practice, they're doing it under the shot timer, but that's a good way of just ingraining bad habits because when you're under the shot timer, you don't really have time to actually take a second and experiment doing something a different way, you know, because you're always trying to beat the timer. So just take the shot timer and leave it at home, or don't use it when you're trying to break down your shooting fundamentals, and then slowly break down, literally step by step, see what you can improve on. And then a lot of people will have a phone mount on their tripod, so just hit record when you shoot a stage, and you can rewatch it when you get home, and you can probably easily tell what you need to work on, or you can send it to a more experienced shooters and ask them what they think you could work on as well, and then train what you're not comfortable with, basically.
Yep. Here's a doozy. Do tuners matter for PRS?
Oh gosh, it's too late to be asking that question, Travis.
That's a long debate subject.
Yeah.
Well, just say quickly what we do. You don't have to explain it all.
I mean, so the gear perspective, the lot test centers don't play with the tuners, right? They're in the realm of eliminating variables. PRS as well. We're in the realm of eliminating any variables we possibly can. I personally don't feel that it's needed for the sport that we do. It can help for certain situations, but there's too much that goes on as far as how to tune a rifle correctly that changes when you move atmospheres or move to different locations. And if you're the individual that has the money to spend on retuning your ammo or retuning your rifle every single time, that's awesome, but not necessarily needed. The biggest factor to it is that these heavy contour barrels, how I could kind of put this in perspective is you got to have harmonics to tune harmonics. And when you have such a big truck axle barrel, you got to have enough weight on that barrel to be moving around to do something. What I found at the lot test center with my rifles that had a tuner was that it took about 1 pound of weight, 1 pound, to effectively start doing something to the accuracy. When you have these threaded on tuners that are only a few ounces, it's just simply not enough weight to be effective to do anything on a truck axle barrel. But in turn, going the other direction with a contour barrel like a 0.9 or less, the bench rest rifles, those tuners seem to do something, and you're able to see effectively the groups change. But for the average plinker, the average person that's PRS shooting, or just somebody that's going out there having fun, a tuner is good. It's good. You could try it, but it's not really necessary.
And I would encourage them to do your own research on that. Like, we've done our own testing, which is why we came to our conclusion. But Brian Litz published, lots of journals and articles. He's a ballistician that, obviously, if you guys are familiar with him with Lapua. And so he did that a couple years ago, I think. And but there's some great information in there. And we always tell everybody, do your own research. We don't build our rifles with tuners. We don't use them. Like Kenny was saying, bench rest, but those are typically like the clamp-on style, like Rail
these are Rail tuners, and we're using a very heavy tuner that's made out of brass in order to affect those. But if we're looking, since primarily most of the shooters here are PRS shooters, it's just another variable to kind of say, hey, is my rifle not performing because of my tuner, or is it my ammo, or is it something I didn't do, or is it just me that day? You're trying to eliminate some variables.
So many variables. Yeah. But we've done a video on it as well on Kenny's platform. So Eagle Eye Shooting is his YouTube platform. Yeah. We've done a video where we built a rifle with the tuner. We had a client. This was a while ago, but he sent it. He really wanted a tuner, and we sent it out without a tuner.
It destroyed the accuracy. So to give perspective, a lot of these barrels out there are button rifled, or cut rifled is a way to eliminate the internal bore stress. But like a Mueller Works barrel or a Schillen barrel, there's a lot of bore stress from pulling a button down the bore. That when you start taking the material down, again, these barrels are stress relieved at that certain diameter. So if you start removing that material enough, then those internal bore stresses will push outward and will open up the bore at the crown, which is the most crucial part of the barrel to keep the bore diameter where it is. So you're taking a risk. The guy, whoever puts the tuner on, has to know this, has to know how to set a crown up correctly. Yeah. Where to find the tight spot and the choke spot of the barrel before putting on a tuner, and then knowing how to measure your bore diameter correctly with either a bore gauge or a pin gauge or something after a tuner is installed. And then, then you got to sell. Does it do anything?
Well, they're just not repeatable enough. I just feel like that's what we've learned,
yeah.
and it just is not as reliable.
It's a big debate.
Yeah.
I'm not against tuners. Obviously, I use them as well. But I could take a rifle and shoot 20 shots, and the first 5 shots were about a 0.35, and you see it come in.
Yeah.
And after about so many shots, you see it go back out. And I could say, you could take that same target and say, oh yeah, that was a rifle with a tuner, or in comparison. So I've seen tuners work. I don't think it's necessary for what we're trying to do.
And we could sell them, and let's just be clear about that. Like all day, we've been asked to sell them and do that. I mean, we could make a lot of money off that. It's just that's just not what we do. It's just not. We have to 100%.
I got to give you a product that you can repeat. So if I say this tuner works and I have this tune setting, I want you to go home and play with it and duplicate that. If you can't duplicate that, then I shouldn't be selling that product.
Right.
But that's where I stand on that.
Yeah. So for PRS especially, it's insignificant. Maybe for guys doing bench rest or something like that, it might be maybe applicable.
When I talk to folks that have tuners on there, I'm like, hey, dude, how many times do you play with this thing? They're like, oh, I just set it and forget it. I really don't play with it. I don't, the feedback that I got from guys that have them is they don't really notice a difference. They feel like they set a tune on the barrel and it works that way, and it's working as it is, and they forget about it, but they don't necessarily use it to tune a rifle. So that's just what I've seen. So
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, just to be devil's advocate though, Chris Simmons, who just won nationals, he was running a tuner. So there you go. Who knows? But
he's using a special tuner that just came out. That's actually the one from PQP Products, which is the heavy tuner.
Yeah, it was really massive. Yeah.
Yes. So that's where the key is. If you're looking at a tuner, you got to look at the weight and look at your barrel and you look at your rifle setup. There's a lot that you could do to your rifle system before getting into a tuner. Again, this goes back to the firing pin springs, your headspace, chambering, and then obviously your lot testing. Do all of that first, get your system solid, then look into getting a tuner to, if you want to fine tune any more accuracy out of it. Generally speaking, if your rifle is shooting in the under 0.3s consistently, you're going to compete at the top level. Can you squeeze out more accuracy? Yes. It's going to require those heavier tuners for the heavier barrels that you're running. So PQP Products, that's something I want to give it a test and see how that works, and see if that tuner does anything with these heavy 120, 125 contour barrels.
Well, Chris is a good shooter in general. So like you were saying, Matt, it's hard to tell. Like, I don't know.
I know, yeah. I was just saying that, just to add some fuel to the flames. But definitely. I agree with everything you guys have said. So
exactly.
He's told me before, either you shoot with us, you shoot against us, and I shoot a tuner. So I mean, I get it. I go off the data.
Yeah.
To me, I'm not about selling a product that unless you guys could have the same performance I'm getting.
But we're willing to give it a try. We always like to do that. Anytime there's a new product or something, we always do that. And we always like to give it a shot. So maybe we will and see if it changes our mind.
Well, I got an electronics background from working the railroad, and I know harmonics and I know frequency very well due to that background. And I just know that you have a rigid platform and all the frequency is centralized in the center of that barrel. You got very little to play with. So there's a lot more factors involved to rely on just a small system that's going to give you hopefully the better result.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day too, I think a lot of the shooters that are wondering about tuners would probably be better suited to save the ammo they would be using to tune their rifle and maybe focus on some practice and other things.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep.
That's what I agree that 100%. You can spend that 30 cents ammo downrange, either learning how to build a position, or finding out what makes your rifle accurate. It depends on the type of sport you're in. So.
Exactly. It seems like people are interested in like what hack can I do to gain a point? Like, well, the hack is be a better shooter, and and if you're in the the podium contention every match and 1 point makes a difference for you, then that's when all these little things might stack. Right. But for the 95% of us, work on fundamentals.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it, Travis, for sure.
Yeah.
For Matt, bipod, bag, and ammo. Which do you like?
Oh, like what do I use for those?
Yeah, well,
Bipod?
he said the question was best bipod, best bag, best ammo.
Oh, I see.
But I figure recommendations.
Yeah. I mean, Bipod, I've been running the Skypod for a couple seasons. It's awesome. I have a video on it, so you can get my thoughts on it there. Basically, I wouldn't want to use it if I was a bench rest shooter, that's for sure. But for PRS, it's like the best tool in that, on the market that I know of for Bipod. Bag, shout out to Boss Gear. Been running Boss Gear bags now for for 2 years. No, but honestly, I've said this before. Like, I know I said that sort of tongue in cheek, but it doesn't matter what company supports me. I've always had an understanding that I will never run a product if I don't think I can shoot my best with it. So I wouldn't be running Boss Gear bags if I thought it was even, slightly worse than something else on the market. The only reason why I run any product that I compete with is because I know I can shoot my best with it. So, I know Travis is on this call, so, but no, Boss Gear bags for sure. And then what was the last one? Ammo?
Yeah.
Okay, well, again, I'm an Ely shooter, so there you go. So Ely 10X is what I shoot. But again, before I was sponsored by Ely, I had already switched over to match for 2 seasons because I saw the consistency. It was, for me, easier to find lots of Ely match that just seemed to be more, I want to say, like, easy to shoot in the rifles that I had at the time. And then combine that with the silver bullet is easy to see trace on, which is kind of nice. Although I will say I don't. Some shooters put a big emphasis on seeing the actual bullet in flight. I like to base my corrections based on the splash I see on target or behind the target. So in flight, it's nice, but it's not critical to me. And then when Ely approached me, they want all their sponsor shooters to shoot red box, and red 10X and match come off the same line. So it wasn't really a change for me. So that's what I've been shooting is Ely 10X.
Nice. I appreciate the kind words.
Yeah, you're welcome.
The last one for DPG, barrel length. Does it, outside of balancing, does it really matter that much for PRS?
It depends on the shooter and your stature. If you're a shorter person, obviously you're trying to shave as much weight as you possibly can, yet still balance the rifle, right? So outside of balancing, what the longer barrels offer, what I'm noticing is shot for shot. This is verified with the older 35 chronograph, which has the double silk screen. I've seen better consistent G1 PC for RPC at longer distances. So the extra length is either, and I don't know this is what I'm thinking as my myth and conclusion, is that it's uniforming the projectile shot for shot. It not only is it uniforming it, you're getting more consistent pressures on the last little bit. The downside to it, obviously, is that it does slow down the ammo, and doesn't really make a big factor on that. I typically like to shoot around 1060 to 1080 feet a second. Mm-hmm. When you get under a 1040, you start having a little bit of vertical striation, but that's about
We always recommend a 24-inch length. We've done that for the longest time.
Been an all-around performer.
Yeah, it is. It's very forgiving at that length, and then we also feel like it gives you the best balance. And but like Dory, for instance, Matt, like for her, I think it was 22. Female shooters, it can matter. And I had a few female shooters, in fact, and they'll call me and say, I want Dory's exact setup. Like I want, and I mean, we're all for it, but it also does depend on your size, your stature, like. Dory's tiny, I think she's like 90 pounds. I mean, I don't know. She's, around like 5'1" or 5'2". So, and I'm 5'3". I'm like 5'3", 120 pounds. It doesn't. You
can't handle 26-inch barrel.
Yeah, I can't exactly. So I think it definitely does matter. So like for me, that's why I like the CZ. It's a smaller action. It's a little bit lighter. I'm also left-handed, so I'm like I get put in this like weird box sometimes. But of course, I have Kenny to always. I got him to do the magic. But yeah, I mean, I think it does matter as far as length, but it also, there is things that change that the variables that change, like he was saying, is like, your size, your stature. Generally, all around, we recommend 24-inch length, but there is definitely reasons that we could change that.
Yeah, at 26-inch length, I see a little less lot pickiness with LAPU ammo.
But it's the higher velocity lots.
Yes, but it wants the higher velocity lots to achieve that MOA accuracy at longer distances.
Right.
We're talking 327 to 335 meters a second lot consistency. So we'll put a long range, and that's kind of the benefit for elite shooters too, though. So now, and the other side of the coin is for elite shooters, it slows it down to get you under that transonic zone and gets you around that 1090 feet a second mark.
Right.
Yeah. Another thing, just talking about Dory's CZ, the 22-inch barrel like still balances well enough for her, and she can now move it comfortably, which is more important for PRS. And it's funny too, because when Kenny was building it, I asked him to recess the crown even more because I know she's a klutz, and she has smashed the front of that barrel in so many props, but it's held zero with that threaded CZ tenon. Like, it's a champ, but there's so many marks on the front of the barrel from her just like smashing it into a prop here or there. So, but yeah, it was a good.
I do that too. I'm so I think when it's a little bit clumsier. Hey, and Dory should be on here. We can't speak for Dory. We have to ask her.
I saw that video. When she hit that barricade, you hear it ring, and everybody was laughing.
Oh yeah, we've done some crazy stuff with that, but I think she does really, really well. I'm really proud of her. I mean, she has. I mean, her handling that, and that's kind of what I use to compare, because I'll even have guys that'll call me and be like, well, I want it 22, because I'm like, if I have a sponsored female shooter, she's 90 pounds. There is no way that ounces is going to make a difference. If you can't handle that and little Dory can, then you got bigger problems than just how heavy the rifle is. So she does really, really well. But I'm with her on that. I like the CZ because it's lighter. But I like to watch her and see what she does. It's so cool that she gets to get out there and compete, where we're like always stuck in here. So I like to watch her videos and see what she does. But yeah, I'm really proud of her.
Thanks.
I had a customer ask me for the CZs, like, can I get a 1.1 inch diameter barrel instead of a 1.2 because I want to save weight? And I sent Kenny a message. He's like, it'll save you about 3 ounces, right? So like, just
not much.
The difference is so small that it wouldn't be noticeable.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and we really do that. Like, we just give clients the preference on the CZs too. Like, we try to just give as many preferences, like the 1.1 versus the 1.20. But these 1.20s that we have recently, they've just been performing like phenomenally well. Like, they've just been hammering. And so we kind of like to let sleeping dogs lie when we see a batch of barrels come in like that. But the 1.1, it doesn't, of course, we test them all. So it doesn't fall off like, or change too much. But
it's still in that accuracy realm.
Yeah. But
that 0.3 or better.
Yeah.
I just saw a slight advantage, and I'm always trying to give you guys the best.
The best,
It doesn't matter if it's my barrel or someone else's barrel or someone else's product. I'm trying to search. I'm not brand loyal. I'm trying to see, okay, is there an edge and accuracy to this product that I can provide? So, well,
I've had a lot of people. I've seen some of the comments just really quickly too, just so they know. Like, so when it comes to the CZs, that we're not going to take any gunsmithing. You know, I know that we did that years back. It just takes us like 3-4 times as long. Also, we have so much clientele, and I don't mean this. I mean this very humbly, but we don't even have like the capacity. I could imagine how many rifles I would get in from people that would want gunsmithing. I have to keep track of that, plus keep on top of lead times. But the most important factor why we don't take gunsmithing is that not only does it take us 3 times as long, but we can't warranty it. So when things were happening or breaking, or like even with the Pagara when we offered it back then,
there's been bolts snapping out of the CZ lately. With some of the 2024, 2025 models that have came out.
It happens.
Those are MIM'd parts. They're not. They used to be forged. They're now MIM'd. So I believe those are breaking. I've seen those in the field. We could get those warranty. To give a little emphasis, what Ashley was talking about is I've had rifles hit my shop where folks use JB board paint or JB weld in areas. Springs from big pens, you name it. I've seen some crazy stuff. It's like I gotta have a baseline to build off of. I'm promising this accuracy, and they're trying to ask for a miracle with some of the stuff that comes in. I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. I got to replace these parts, and now it's my problem, because now I can't let a rifle leave my shop unsafe or unworking. Yeah,
it becomes a huge problem. That's just why we don't do that. But it does help us to warranty it, so the client doesn't have to jump through like the red tape or contact CZ. Like, we handle that for them. And even like you said, like Dory like dinged it or dropped it. Like, we don't offer gunsmithing, but we smith our own rifles. So like, even if I've had someone shoot it with what was it? The the chronograph that he was using. It was inside the rod. Why can't I think of the name?
The magneto speed.
Yes,
Yeah,
the magneto.
so
my gosh, we were like, man.
This was an ARA record-setting rifle. It set an ARA record. And
it was a bench rest build.
Yeah, he put a alignment rod to put his magneto speed, left it in the barrel, shot it.
Oh man, that sucks.
And I felt bad. I mean, he was so embarrassed, and I was like, don't be embarrassed. He was like, I don't even want to tell you guys. I'm just gonna send it. Just look at it. I can't even say it, and I'm just like, don't even look at me or don't even call me. I know I'm embarrassed, but we were like, we don't care. Honestly, I mean, we've dropped stuff. We have 3 kids. I mean, things get dropped all the time. It never matters to us, but we smith our own. I don't like people to feel like if something happens, we couldn't warranty it. We always stand behind our rifles 100%.
Yeah.
And
until we get to the capacity where I have some help. And that's the thing, I saw another comment. How did we get a rifle built within a month? Anybody that's reputable. I mean, this is a hand-fitted operation.
Yeah,
it's not a production shop, so we are hand-fitting everything, and we are looking at every aspect of this rifle build. It does take time. Any shop that's doing it's kind of the same quality, a reputable shop, is going to be a long lead time. That's just how it is. You take into account Nighthawk Customs. I waited 2 years for a 2011 to get built. From Dan Wesson or something. So.
And it is hard to find help. It is kind of a dying art. Not everybody knows exactly how to do that, or and again, some of these are just big factory shops that send out factory rifles. But
that's why there's pre-fits. If
you don't want to wait.
If you don't want to wait, then there's a pre-fit. You can still compete very well with a pre-fit.
But we're controlling the lead times. We have more help. We're expanding, and then with our new action, we obviously have a lot of machines, more help now to help us, keep lead times down. The CZs are a little bit harder for us to do, only because I still have to order from CZ. I have to wait for them to come in. Kenny has to basically disassemble, the complete rifle, true the action, square it. There's still a lot of time that goes into that rifle build. So when we build our own action here, the Genesis, for instance, like we don't outsource anything. So besides like our springs or like a couple of different things we couldn't do, but everything is in-house. We can control that, and it is quicker. It's faster than it would be necessarily for someone, again, with a CZ. But I also have twice as many CZ guys. It is a more budget-friendly build. And then because I stopped offering, a 700 for quite some time, but I have a lot of guys that like the CZ in that platform. So we're working to control that. But right now, gunsmithing is just not something we'll offer. If we did, of course, we would let people know. But just to maintain and preserve our reputation, it might not be something that we could really completely go back to unless I just had a gunsmith doing it, under our name, which is still taking a chance of something slipping through. Our name's on that rifle and it reflects on us. So if that rifle doesn't shoot good, somebody next to that person saw that. So we try really hard to control the quality, which what we're doing with the Genesis, which was the whole reason for developing that, so we could control the quality in and out of the shop. And even though we're expanding, we still hold those high standards. It's just hard to find people that have that knowledge or that skill set. We do live in a small town, so we have to vet a lot of people to do that, or we have people drive from a long distance. But there is going to be a point where we will expand our shop and we will have to move, and obviously to an area where there's just a lot, more skill set, more people that we can vet through. But right now, gunsmithing won't be an option until, again, even if we do, down the road, it's possible, but not likely.
It's very
cool.
That is the list of questions. I had another one, but we can address it later. We're getting pretty late. So.
I was going to say 2 hours on the dot now, basically. Yeah. But I think there was a lot of good information. So thanks for giving us the breakdown on the new Genesis, Kenny. That was awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for imparting all the knowledge and experience. It's been great listening, and I'm sure our listeners have learned a lot, so much more than they ever suspected was going on behind that bolt, behind that gun. So thank you very much to both of you for putting all the effort and care and precision into each of those units you ship out. So it's greatly appreciated by us precision shooters. So
Oh yeah,
Thanks.
anytime. We're more than happy to help and jump on.
We're here to share what we learn and learn as together as a community. I want to say I don't know. I still am learning every day. Even building rifles, I still learn something every day. And the goal is to share that experience and continue this sport and push it. I mean, we've gotten a 22 to shoot 400 or 700 yards. That's nuts. Think about that. 10 years ago, that wasn't even a possibility. Matt shot 1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool. Yeah.
No, it's
But
pretty
yeah,
good.
no, we thank you guys for having us on here. And anytime, we're here available for you guys in the community, especially our Canadians. Yay, we're excited to do this and partner. And we're not just exclusive over here. So yeah, any questions, reach out to Travis. We have CZs. Somebody asked, are they ready to go? Travis will have them ready to go. Contact him if you're from Canada. Here in our shop, again, we all have a lead time. Travis has waited the lead time as well. But yeah, I mean, either one. So if Canada, reach out to Travis. Our U.S. clients, they know they can call our shop and we'll talk to them.
And then, Matt, I'm always looking forward to your match breakdowns. I learned a lot. I actually implement a lot of your techniques and some of the stuff that I'm doing here. So
awesome. Glad to hear it. Yeah. Yeah, we didn't make as many videos this season because we were both focusing on shooting, but now that we're winding down, I'm actually going to pick up the video production, hopefully. So, yeah.
So, Travis, are you taking orders now?
Of course. Yeah.
So
they just have to email me and I'll get back to them with the information I need to place your order and with lead times and all that. And I also have to say, working with Kenny and Ashley, it's really great to have a company that has such a high standard for quality. Like I like to think I have a high standard of quality as well. So it's nice to work with people with similar views. They're very easy to work with, super responsive. I was up at 5 a.m. one day and I couldn't sleep. So I sent Kenny a message, which is 2 o'clock in the morning their time. And he responded to me. I was like, do you ever sleep? You don't have to respond to this at 2 a.m. So it's I
was in the shop.
No, he works 24/7. And just so my US clients, if you guys are watching and you're aware, Travis is also sending us some of his Boss Gear bags. So if you guys are interested in that, we'll do a video on those as well, because that's something
we're excited to try that.
Yeah, we're super excited about. So we'll do a video. Kenny will show that on our platform too. And if you guys want that, let us know. Again, we can definitely work with Travis and get those here as well. We're always in need of some good bags, that's for sure. So we're excited about that too.
Perfect.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
Look to see more of your rifles on the firing line in the coming season. So keep up the good work. See you guys later.
You
All right.
guys. Have a good night,
Cheers,
guys.
everybody. Have a good night.
You too.
Thanks.
Good night. Thanks.
Thanks.